You know, Jeff, sometimes it helps.
Somewhat, yeah.
If we actually press record and get going with the reason we came here.
We just kept going. We would have gone forever. Yeah. So before we start, I'm excited. I'm not excited. I'm a little nervous. I made a bold move with the music again this week.
I would normally be really, really, really excited about this.
You should be nervous.
But I am petrified right now at what you have done.
I'll just, without giving anything away, I'll just say I make a statement in this one. So I'm going to make an assumption about a thing in this movie that I'm going to assume you and I feel the same about a thing. Mm-hmm. And I made that declaration in the open. So,
Jeff, take off your headphones for a second.
All right.
All right. Can you hear me? You can't hear me. Okay. All right. Here's my prediction. I'm going to give you guys a prediction. I think what Jeff has done is whatever his intro music is basically no intro music. Like, that's really what I think he's done. So, or it's like no intro music with like little bleeps and blurps, and that's about it. So that's my prediction of what he's done. All right.
An incredible amount of trust I have in you.
I just, you know what? For as much as we've done this together and as many hours as you and I have spent together, I hoped you would have that kind of trust.
I think you better.
No, I just made a little prediction as to what you did.
Oh, okay.
And we'll see if it comes true. So this is between me and the folks out there, and we'll see what happens.
That'll be fun. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Hey, listen, if you guys are joining us for the very first time, every episode is somebody's first time. Welcome. What's happening right now is Jeff and I are recording an audio podcast. You guys are watching the behind the scenes. If you hang out like our Stargate.
Yeah, we do a nice Stargate episode, podcast, whatever.
Our Stargate show is not necessarily behind the scenes like that we try to clean up and make stuff. This one, full behind the scenes, which means you get all the edits, you get all the stuff we edit out, you get the blurbs, you get the flubs, you get to laugh at us along the way and get really frustrated with us, I'm sure, at some points too, and tell us to get back on topic. So with that, Jeff, I don't know what you got for me this week, but let's get it, pal.
By any chance have you been looking for me?
Sheridan himself has not been seen for several days.
Worst songs of all time.
Did you get it right?
Ish. No.
Okay.
No.
All right. We'll see.
Ask me later. I'll tell you what it was.
Okay.
Hey, you kind of got there right at the end.
Well, yeah. So literally just at the end. That's all it was that little blurb at the end.
Yeah, you got to it at the end. So
yeah, I want to be like, hey. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I said basically your introduction would be just no music. Or it'd be like just no music with like just little sounds, and that's it, without actually having music there.
Well, that's kind of what the music was. That was the outro music for the movie that I grabbed. So it's actually, and it's just kind of sounds. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Let's do that.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin, and I am the one who was.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I am the one who will be.
We're watching Babylon 5 for the first time for you, the one who is.
That's right. Jeff and I are two veteran Star Trek podcasters who have just finished our initial run through Babylon 5 for the very first time. Now we're tackling the movies. And this week we're watching A Call to Arms. And while we're doing that, we're doing the Star Trek thing where we overanalyze everything and we try to look for messages that really just aren't there.
Sometimes they are. Other things that are here sometimes are really easy references to Star Trek for us to make. Yes. We don't want to do that because, Brent, this is not a Star Trek podcast. So to keep us from doing that, we play a game called the Rule of Three. This is a game that limits us to no more than 3 references to Star Trek per episode in total.
That's it. 3. Uno, dos, tres. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
And Jeff, what happens if we make one of those references?
You're going to hear this.
Well, we like those kind of games. Another game that we like to play happens at the end of the show where we make a prediction about what next week's episode, or in this case, movie, is going to be about without ever actually having seen it or read descriptions, or really you try to even look at thumbnails or anything like that. All we're doing is going based off the title alone. Well, this is the part where we play a little game called...
I don't have the drop.
It's time to pay the piper. Yeah, whatever. We said we weren't doing that for this.
We did. I don't like that drop. I didn't like it.
Okay, fine. Well, hey, we need to change that part in the notes then. It probably was.
It's still the old one.
Well, it actually is probably, yeah, it's changed. I'm just on autopilot with the
There's
old
that
way we
too,
used to do
right?
it. Well, this is the part of the show where we revisit our prediction from last week and see just how close we were. So, Jeff, what did you say A Call to Arms was going to be about?
I thought this was going to be the telepath war. We were going to have a call to arms over the whole thing. And while it got a mention in this movie, it was not about the telepath war. What did you think it was, Brent?
I basically said that this was going to be a mustering of the new cast for Crusade, because we know that this is the lead-in for the show Crusade, and this is something's going to happen, and they're going to have to gather all the members of the cast of Crusade and bring them into the show. And this basically is going to be like The Gathering, where we assemble the team. Yeah.
Well, we'll find out if any of them are on the team when we get into Crusade.
Yes, we will.
I suppose. Because, spoiler alert, some of the cool people in this one died during the movie. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about cool ones or people dying or Crusade or any of this stuff, Brent, will you refresh the memories of me and all of the people watching or listening as to what A Call to Arms was about?
Okay, well, first, let me just apologize for what is about to happen. Have you ever had the feeling that you were being watched? You sort of get those little hairs on the back of your neck standing up, and you look around because you just know someone's there watching you. Well, apparently neither Michael Garibaldi or John Sheridan have ever felt that, because they're totally being watched by some dark-hooded, shadow-lurking, British-speaking white guy, which totally means he's the bad guy of the film, right? Well, we'll come back to that in a moment. It's been 5 years since the ISA was founded, and President Sheridan is looking to make good on his bid to upgrade the White Star fleet with destroyer-type vessels using a combination of Vorlon and Minbar technology made with Earth funds and good old American know-how. But it looks like Michael Garibaldi, CEO of Edgar's Hampton Garibaldi Industries, based on Mars, has the contract. They're meeting for Sheridan's first look at the new ship, the Excalibur. While on his tour, Sheridan, with a spiffy new haircut straight out of 1999, gets... Sorry.
It's so true.
Sorry. I saw you react out of the corner of my eye. I'm sorry. Gets a message from his VP, who happens to be... I'm sorry.
My very first note.
Oh, yeah?
Hey, Woodstock 99 is calling and wants their hair back.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, yeah.
Whew.
Sorry.
I'm going to start that in the middle of that sentence, just
okay,
because I don't know that I can read the first part of that without losing it again. So
fair.
Gets a message from his VP, who also happens to be his main squeeze, and his wife, Delenn. Well, Sheridan, like any smart man, wants to take this one in his quarters. But instead of it being a message from Delenn, it's just a big bunch of jumbled letters and words and colors and shapes. And hey, I recognize this. This is exactly what Bester used to activate the mind bleepery that he left in Garibaldi's head. Well, later that night, our Marcus Cole wannabe bad guy comes to Sheridan in his sleep. Ha! I told you this was some sort of telepath thing. Except it's not. This guy, Galen, is a Techno Mage. Yeah? Techno Mages are in this movie. All right. He was one that didn't go beyond the rim, apparently, and he and his friends have just been hiding out. Galen has come to take Sheridan on a mind trip that would make Ebenezer Scrooge jealous. Sheridan to Dalton 7, a dead world, one that was destroyed by a weapons test by an alien race who just so happens to return at that exact moment. They're actually there, cutting short their visit. And with that, Sheridan wakes up and it's still Christmas morning. Well, while all of that was happening, way back on Babylon 5, because hey, remember this place over here? Well, a new person is coming onto the station, which totally means that's the bad guy, right? Only this one's a lady, and she is knifed up. I mean, this girl's got some weapons on her. Her name is Darina Nafil, and she has just come aboard. She's looking for the Thieves Guild. During her search, she gets knocked out, and she wakes up on that same planet that Sheridan and Galen were just on. She has a little freak out moment because right behind her is, wait for it, Sheridan. Darina doesn't know and doesn't care who he is. She lunges for him, and then he suddenly turns into a Drakh. But oh wait, he's not Sheridan or a Drakh. It's Galen. And he gives her a message about not throwing away her shot. All right, Alexander Hamilton. Now, when Darina comes to, she's found the Thieves Guild. The head of the guild, your classic smarmy, slick-haired dude who wears shades indoors, welcomes her into the guild after she She-Hulks out and breaks through the chains that they have her bound in. Well, back on the Excalibur, they're just about to commence with a weapons test of their own. You see, they have two guns. One is just like what they have on the current fleet of White Stars. The other is pretty much what they had on the Death Star. And that one uses so much power that the ship is going to be defenseless and nearly out of power for about 60 seconds while it recharges. Galen returns to Sheridan and shows an Galen returns to Sheridan and shows him an image of Zahadum. He tells Sheridan that the Drakh have been leaving Zahadum and they're gearing up for war and they're coming for Earth. It's a revenge sort of thing for what happened with the Shadow War, and Sheridan must now figure out how to stop them and make that happen. And with that, Galen's gone. Sheridan orders them to hightail it for Babylon 5. Back on B5, Sheridan hooks up with Darina, and the two bond over their Galen experiences. And soon, they meet a third person, Captain Anderson, commander of the EAS Charon. The three, all having had visions of Galen dancing in their heads, begin to work together, and they hijack the Excalibur and join up with Captain Jack Sparrow on the open seas as pirates. Arrgh. Okay, not really, but not so fast, because they actually commandeer another ship, the Victory, and the two ships head out for Dalton 7. There, they find a dead Drazi, and they discover that the Drakh have gotten their hands on some leftover shadow tech, namely the very efficiently named stuff that we have here in the Babylon 5 universe, a planet killer. Just then, Drakh ships, and a lot of them, are on approach for the planet. And that's when all hell begins to break loose. The tensions for this episode are as high as they've ever been. Space battles commence. Betrayal is unveiled. And it's really exciting stuff. Except someone forgot to tell the person who's writing the score for this movie, because yikes. I'm sure we're going to discuss more of that later. But back to the story. The Victory and the Excalibur both escape in one piece, jumping into hyperspace, making their way for Earth. Sheridan contacts Captain Lockley to get her to send help as well. And when they arrive at Earth, they join up with a large fleet all gathered around Earth. And the Drakh drop out of hyperspace. And there's a bunch of pew, 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 with a sweet look at Captain Anderson's family. He declares that today is a good day to die and sacrifices himself and the Victory and all the people on it to destroy the Death Star, or the Drakh planet killer. And just as the Drakh turn to hightail it and run out of there, they release a plague cloud of a biogenic disease into Earth's atmosphere, and they boogie out. Whew. And with that immediate threat now out of the way, it's time to turn our attention to this bioplague. It seems like it wasn't really made for the humans, so we're okay right now, but it looks like it's going to take, what do you say, Jeff? 5 years? That's a good run, right? 5 years before the plague adapts to humans and begins to destroy all life on Earth. Well, President Sheridan, ever the great leader that he is, realizes that a cure must be out there somewhere, and we've got 5 years to find it. So he assigns the Excalibur to be the ship to go and look for it, coolly setting up the plot of the next spin-off series, which is clearly going to run for exactly 5 years. Jeff, what did you think of A Call to Arms?
I think I enjoyed your recap more than the movie, and I liked the movie. This was the first one of the movies since in the beginning that actually felt like a movie. The other ones, this had like cinematic pacing. The story was a movie kind of story, right? Like a lot of the stuff when I watched it the second time, I realized like they have the video game kind of already built up, right? Like protagonist has some weird like existential experience that leads on you the mission to put your team together. You have to find the soldier, the thief, the scientist. Then you get your first
mage.
boss fight. Yeah, and the mage. Yeah.
The cleric.
Get that guy. You do. But then you get your first boss fight. You can't win that one, right? So you have to go away. And then your mission changes to get people to believe you. And then the big final battle where everything comes together. So like this was a video game. This is a movie. Hero's arc. Whole thing was in there.
I was say, you just described the classic hero's tale.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, just beat for beat. It's a little paint by numbers-ish in how it did it. But it still, I mean, it did.
That's why it's a great story structure.
Exactly. Yeah.
It works.
It totally works. And
yeah.
I think like, I feel like, especially last week in River, like it didn't really follow it. And if it did, it just stretched it out over so long. Whereas in this one, I didn't feel bored. Like there were periods of time that were longer that maybe should have, there were periods of time that were maybe longer than they should have been, but not distractingly so, like in Third Space and River of Souls. But this was totally, without a doubt, a made-for-TV movie. Like it reeked of that, like not quite brand smell, you know, like, oh, these are great Oreos. Kinda.
You leave you that little aftertaste at the end.
Just not quite right, you know?
Right.
But it's like there was some weird, like the lighting was definitely TV grade lighting. The acting was not good in this. Like there was some pretty bad acting by some pretty principled people in the story that was pretty off-putting for me at least. There are a lot of weird camera angles that happened. And I was thinking about it, how have you ever, I'm sure you have, but most people have, ever seen a movie and read the book and the book was just better?
Always, which is why, by the way, always watch the movie first, because you're just going to be disappointed if you read the book first.
Yeah, exactly.
Just watch the movie, enjoy that, and then go find out all the other stuff, the really cool stuff that happens in the book.
I feel like this is
appreciate both.
I feel like this is a movie that the book would have been exponentially better. Like there were scenes I was watching where I'm like, this is a really cool idea, and there's some really good storytelling stuff happening here.
Yeah.
But oh my God, between the lighting, the effects, the acting, and this stuff, I am completely distracted and out of it, and like especially that whole Thieves Guild thing. I was almost out at that point. I'm almost like, I can't. I just can't.
The only thing that guy needed was a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like he had the hair, he had the sunglasses, he was propped up on the thing with his leg up, he had the girls around him, he just needed the cigarette and it would have completed everything.
If you can do this, hey, we can do this for you. Like, oh man, it was, But as I was watching that, I'm like, if I read the novelization of this scene, it would have been intense. Like, I think the writing and the storytelling was really good, but just not great execution. And then there's the I don't know what to call it. Is it music? The soundtrack? The sounds?
I was gonna say, in order to be music, it actually has to be notes and a melody and
like have a meter and a key and some stuff.
This felt, you know what this one felt more like, and well, again, we'll dive into this, and these are your thoughts, not mine. I'm sorry, but this one felt like there's a difference between like classic art, impressionistic art, and abstract art. This was abstract music, meaning it wasn't. Like it's just, let's put a little thing here and we'll throw that there, and none of it's gonna make sense, but you know it's gonna be beautiful.
It's art. It's art.
But we're gonna sell it for a crap ton of money and make some fools. I mean, have some people really get into it.
I absolutely respect the decision to try something new.
Yeah.
I get that. You had 5 solid years and a couple of movies of just incredible music, and shake it up. I totally respect that. I just hope that this was discussed in a lessons learned conversation after production, and we don't go back to this well ever again.
Oh, Jeff, I got some bad news for you, buddy. This guy's score is Crusade.
Are you kidding me?
Yes. But I've also since found out after Crusade gets done, he never scores anything else in his life.
Okay, there's some justice. There's some justice that happens, and that's just really not encouraging at all moving into that.
No.
Oh, what were your first thoughts on this one?
So, Jeff, I hear what you're saying. I really do.
But
this wasn't a movie.
No?
This was 2 episodes, and it was 2 very different episodes. It didn't move like a movie to me. It didn't flow like a movie to me. It was slow and it was plotting, but in the way that great television is slow in plotting.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm saying this as a positive for the thing. Like, this wasn't the movie that's just really tightly compact. This was a movie. This was a television episode that was taking its time. It was putting pieces in places. It was showing you different things. It was moving things around. Like you, I loved the story structure. I can see JMS writing this, just going, this is a killer set of episodes. I want to put this on record. I'm going to say this right at the front. I liked this one a lot. But this, to me, was a tale of 2 episodes. The first half of this was awesome. I loved the first half. I was laughing. I was hurrahing. I was yipping. You know, Galen, you talk about that in the story structure. I've got this note. Galen serves as the prophet. You always get that prophet character that is the one who comes in, tells the hero what's going on, and sends them off on their mission. And that's literally what he did. Hey, here's what's happening. Here's what the Drakh are doing. You got to go figure it out now. I can't help you. Like, that's literally what he did. And I loved it. Once they got off, or once they got out on the ship and they're off on the adventure, then it turned into just this slog. It's like it lost all of its energy in the second half, but it shouldn't have, because in the second half there were space battles and big explosions and there's dramatic tension and there's acting, and I thought it was decent acting. Maybe not like the best, but it was a good TV acting. Yeah, that was fine. But holy cow, the whole back half was just a snooze fest. And I really 100%, Jeff, blame the score.
I can see that.
I blame the score because I can see what JMS was writing on paper. And like you, I applaud the attempt to go in a different direction. than what had come before, to set this apart from what had been before. I applaud that. But it didn't work.
It did not.
It just didn't work. When a score is added to a film, it supplements everything. And for the most part, you don't even notice.
Exactly.
Sometimes the score just overwhelms and overtakes, and you're like, holy cow, this is scored so well. And it becomes like its own character. But most of the time, you just don't even notice. What I noticed mostly was the lack of an actual score. It was just sound noises, just weird sound editing pieces. Also, I thought the first half did an excellent job of setting up the second half. It raised the stakes. It added complications. It was that typical tightly packed episode that JMS is so good at writing. Mm-hmm. The second half, the second episode, the part 2, if you will, to me, Jeff, it felt like 9 minutes of story spread out over 45 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But that's not unusual for 2-part episodes. Think about most 2-part episodes. That second episode is all the pew, 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 because everything got set up in the first half, right? The second half is usually the action-packed portion of the show, and this one was no different. There was action and lots of it in the second half, and it was probably brilliant. It just wasn't supported by a score, and this experiment really highlights the importance of a score in a way that I haven't seen since a bonus feature in a portion of an old VeggieTales movie.
Wow.
And what they did in that thing, I've got should I play it, Jeff? It won't matter for the audio people. They won't get it. Can you give me 4 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna show this, because what this shows, this is gonna be for our YouTube. Oh no, I can't do that because this is probably gonna be copyrighted.
Yeah, it totally will.
And it's gonna knock us out. So I'm not gonna, right, so let me describe it. And what I'll do is I'm gonna put a link to this on our Twitter. And Jeff, let's make a note. You're the person who does stuff. Let's put a link down in the show notes.
Yeah.
And can we even maybe like pop up a link like here on the screen for the YouTube?
Yeah,
folks?
we can try.
We'll try to remember. You're my guy who remembers crap like that. I just come up with the ideas. You execute. I'm the prophet. You're the Sheridan.
Right.
Anyway, but what happens is it's just a bonus feature where they take this really intense part of the film where this dude's chilling in water and there's a big whale that's going to come by and eat him, maybe, possibly. And it's the tension of Jaws, dun 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 dun. It's that kind of a tense situation. And what they did was they actually just removed the score and just showed it. And literally it's just a dude like sitting in the water going, what's up?
Just like, yo.
And then they go back and they play it with the score, and all of a sudden the tension and the dramatic elements and all of that is there, and you would never really notice it. It just shows the importance of a score. It's a great side-by-side comparison of what happens, of how a great scene can be killed by the lack of a score. In the end, Jeff, I was ready to gush all over this movie. But there's an old saying, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And this movie started great, but it ended like dog poop.
Wow.
I'm ultimately turned off by this episode or by this movie because of how it ended. And that's really unfortunate because I really, really think JMS wrote a great film. And I think Janet Greek, who I think was the director, directed a great film. It was just ruined. And I know, Jeff, that there are so many people out there who agree with us because they've all talked about it. And they've all, our Discord, our Patreon, the comments on YouTube from the Brent Watches video, there's been a handful of people who are like, actually, this one was ahead of its time. And yeah, you're wrong. I'm sorry. You're just
we're still not to that time. So
we're not there yet. We're not there yet. But I have to lay it there and I don't want to consume our entire conversation with just talking about how bad the score is. But I can't get over how much this one ruined the film for me.
And I think, because I do want to I don't want to make the whole conversation that, but you and I are both. I'm a musician. You're a sound guy. Like our whole background is in audio of some kind, and the choices. So it would. I think they used the exact same synthesizer they used for season 1 of Star Trek: The Next Generation and for the original Battlestar Galactica. Like it just had that like late 70s, mid 80s, like kind of weird sound to stuff. But what made it, two choices made it the worst. One was it was so upfront in the mix. Like it overpowered dialogue. The mix of the music itself was weird. There were whole sections where the thing you heard was the hi-hat. And that was it. And like some weird stuff happening underneath. It was sonically offensive is what it was.
Yes. That's what, like, it takes you out of it. And you're like,
yeah,
what is this that I'm, and there were parts where like they muted the dialogue and just had this going over.
That's the second thing.
It's like, what are you doing?
They're in the middle of the big firefight and people are yelling orders and you see them yelling and stuff happening and explosions and all you hear is
but see, Jeff, that's what I'm talking about. I'm going, that's like the musical version of abstract art, because it wasn't even really music.
Exactly.
It was just sounds. And a lot of times it wasn't even sounds, it was just silence. And it's like, what is this?
And that's why I want to be clear in our conversation. I think we're saying the same thing. We didn't just not like this music. It is objectively from an audio and a film construction standpoint, this is objectively bad.
Yes.
There's nothing redeeming about this.
No.
At all.
No.
This
is not a disagreement of art that is subjective. No, this is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is a gallery, an art gallery thing with my daughter's kindergarten sculpture plopped in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
and you know what, Jeff? Listen, let's there are people out there, very few and far between, but there are some people out there who are like, actually, this was a good score. And you know what? I'm glad that you enjoy stuff like this.
Absolutely.
I am glad. But
you're wrong. You're wrong, and it's great that you enjoyed it. That's awesome. You can totally enjoy that. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
Yeah. And it's not really a score. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's not a score. It's not music. It's not. It's just
yeah. We're gonna go too deep into this. I'm having like,
we're gonna piss off a lot of
stems
people
and your
here.
everything. I don't think we are.
No, we're gonna piss off like 6 people here. That's all there is. I don't even know that it's 6.
and you know what? Again, super glad you enjoyed it. But I think that's just a great overarching thing, that there was just a fundamental 101 thing that ruined this overall.
Yeah.
Now let's set that
because you and I both can see, I'm sorry, you and I both see the brilliance of what JMS put down on paper.
Exactly. And that's what I want to jump into. So we acknowledge this, move away. Let's talk about these story beats and some of the stuff that was great and some of the stuff that was.
Yeah. And JMS, if you're watching this, because I know you watch Jeff and Brent all the time, right? You did great. Mm-hmm. Let's just say you did great.
You made one bad choice. I'll let this guy do the thing, and apparently continued that. But you know what? Maybe we get into Crusade, and maybe he's learned a couple lessons.
You know what? Think about what JMS has been doing for the last 5 years, though. Like he wrote every episode from the mid part of season 2 all the way to the end, with the exception of one. And let his buddy Neil Gaiman do that one.
Yeah.
And he's written all these movies, and he's tried to get the show was canceled, and then it wasn't. He closed up the show, and then he had to reboot the show, and he had to recast some stuff. And how long did it take him to get? And then he had the whole thing with Star Trek where they were trying to put him down, and he didn't, and he gave him the biggest middle finger throughout the course of the show, which was awesome. JMS, I loved it. And so now he's off trying to do a spin-off show and reboot like a whole new thing with all the you know what? At some point, a brother just needs to sleep.
Yeah, be good. So he gets one. This is his one. It's fine. We'll give it a pass.
Right.
What did you think of, watch my pivot here. What did you think of the Excalibur, the Victory, the new ships?
I'm not impressed. I also think I have a lot of trouble sometimes understanding the scope and size of a ship, seeing it on a screen.
That makes sense.
Like the white stars are supposed to be much bigger than whatever they are in my mind. I feel like this ship should be so much bigger than whatever thing. And it's like a tube with like just these like prongs. And I'm like, yeah. Now, that being said, I love the fact that we're on a ship.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That we're not like on a station. This one is on a ship and it's doing stuff on a ship. I like that it's kind of Battlestar Galactic-y.
Uh-huh.
Like it's not fully complete, or with Battlestar Galactica, it's like, some stuff's kind of breaking down and it's not really that advanced. This one is like super advanced, but not quite there yet. Like we're not done. You're trying to take this out of the oven before it's actually done.
Mm-hmm.
So I love like some of those parts of it. I liked the bridge area.
Yeah, that was cool.
It looked different than anything we've really seen on a starship before. And I'm really looking at you, Star Trek. Which, there's the captain's chair, and then there's the two people in front, and then there's a person standing behind them, which is great for placing a camera in front of a set and shooting the show, the scene. Like, but this one looked very different. People were organized in a different way, and I enjoyed that part of it a lot. How about
they outright said it, and I felt it, but they followed a submarine design where it's all lined up instead of in a circle. I like that they even called it out. We're not putting people in a circle like this. We're putting it in a line, and that's 100% how it is on the boat, where you got the people diving and driving. You got the officer of the deck with the periscope and the stuff. You got the navigator right behind, and then along the sides are, different stations that are happening. But it gave a spaceship feel to the whole thing. Like I felt like we were in space when we were on those ships. The look, I'm with you though, the look of them from the outside, if it sounds to me like Excalibur is going to be the ship in Crusade, because Sheridan makes that the research ship at the end. And if that is the case, it's going to take a while for this design to grow on me.
Yeah. Hopefully we just don't get a whole lot of external shots of the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Just keep them all internal.
It'll be fine. I actually even liked external. The best external shot of the ship is when it shoots the main gun. That's kind of cool.
Right. Because there you can see those little things that are sticking out. Because like they're all like, totally the way the Death Star does it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I even liked though how it like sucked the power out so much they were dead in the water. That's such a great storytelling tool.
Yep. Well, it gives you that Achilles heel type thing, because this ship is going to be way overpowered.
Yeah.
Except for that thing right there,
where you're dead in the water for a minute.
So you can't just use it. You got to be real judicious.
I loved Drake in this. Drake was the contractor that Garibaldi had on board, and he kept saying things like, he's like, so it puts us out for 60 seconds. So it's awesome. Also, you'll be dead in the water, and a lot can happen in a minute, he says. And then it has that cool adaptive hull plating that will just absorb and dissipate 80% of the shots that come on it. And he says, but that 20% can sure add up fast. I was like, this dude's great. I really liked him as a character.
He was fine. I liked the character. I feel like if they would have had a different actor, that character could have gone through the roof. Like a Willie Garrison, like kind of a, you know what I mean? Like, somebody like that, somebody who could really just come in and own that role not just being a guy. Like right now, Drake to me was just a guy. He's a jag, but you give him somebody who can just really elevate that role, say the same lines, be the same character, but can turn that into a character.
Yeah.
Oh, been great.
I love that because even with the actor, he just came across as that like middle management guy who's caught between all the reality and then the executives that don't understand reality. And I think that he was good for playing that as just real life. Like this is what a real life person in that role looks like. But I couldn't agree more. You put a Willie Garson in there or somebody like that, where it's just like, you get that almost, almost desperate lapdog quality to someone, just a little bit, where it's like there's so much more to them. I think that would have been a lot better.
Well, I mean, that person who's kind of in control or wants to be in control, but they are also kind of getting walked on a little bit, you know, but they've got to make stuff happen. And, you know, it's just...
I think about the guy in Andor in Star Wars. Did you ever watch that? Did you ever watch Andor? The Star Wars series?
I have not. It's on the list, but I have yet to watch Andor.
It's some of the best television that has come out in this time. It's just such a great series, but it's been a while since I've seen it. But there's that middle management dude in the Empire who actually loses his job and then tries to come back. But like that type of character where he's willing to do whatever and just almost has that stink of desperation of getting to the top sort of thing. I also think that with a better actor in there, the end with him would have made a lot more sense.
With the betrayal reveal and all that. When he did that, I was just like, of course. Like, really?
But also, it was so dumb. It was just dumb. Hey, what? I care about this. Thank you, President Sheridan, for hiring me. I'm from Mars, and that means so much to me. Oh, well, the Drakh gave me a better offer.
Yeah. My note here is I never understood or liked the turn from Drake.
Yeah.
It just didn't really make all that much sense. Like you saw it coming.
You could draw a whole thing of like, he's just anti-Earth because they're anti-Mars, but like to blow up the planet level. Didn't make sense.
No.
Even a little bit. But the Excaliburs did bring us well, actually it was on a regular destroyer ship, but we got Captain Anderson.
Yeah, let's talk about Kern.
Yeah. We've had some top tier guest actors in Babylon 5, right? We've had David Warner, Michael York. I'm sure there have been others. Michael York, people tell me he's a top tier actor.
Dude, Superman lady, Deathwalker?
Yeah, that's right.
You know,
so these are,
and you know what? No, listen. And we've had some top tier main actors.
Yeah, that's the big thing.
People that have, I mean, Bruce Boxleitner, Peter Jurasik, Mira Furl. I mean, we can literally name the entire cast.
Yeah.
The whole, if you're on the DVD cover, except for that Kefir guy in season 2, you're phenomenal. Like, this show gets good actors.
It gets really good actors
most of the time.
And in cases like Deathwalker, in cases like David Warner and Grail, you get these kind of corny-ish characters that they elevate to a level it's incredible. Tony Todd is that actor. Captain Anderson is just your milquetoast, hey, I'm a captain in the Earth Force guy, which is great. But with what Tony Todd brings to that, like, was incredible. There were a couple scenes with him, specifically with his family, and then at the end, his end, that like those could have been pretty dumb in the wrong hands, but they were great. I thought he did such a great job with them. Also, Captain Anderson is the first captain of the SSV Normandy in Mass Effect 1. So,
oh, really?
There's that too.
Well, there you go.
When he was talking, so he's talking to his family, right, and his wife, and it's just the classic, hey, honey, you know, I'm going on a, you know, I can't wait to be home, whatever. And then the daughter comes up and she says, Daddy, I was having a scary dream, and then kind of moved on. It's the monsters, and that theme carried through to, you know, I'm gonna kill the monsters for you. I was so hoping, though, that she would be like, yeah, I had this dream. There's this guy in a black cloak on this planet of fire, and like she was sucked into the whole thing too. Like that would have been awesome and weird at the same time.
It'd be very weird. That one would not have made sense, but
it would have been cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of dudes in black cloaks,
let's talk about Galen.
Yeah, what do you
Please,
think
let's. I'm waiting to get to Dorina and Galen. These are the two. I'm like,
okay,
yes,
yeah. A thing I know about science fiction
Yeah.
is they draw from British theater pretty heavily for their actors because they can say the words in, clear ways and whatever. Plus, they're often desperate enough for a gig that they'll go ahead and sign on with this whatever sci-fi show I've never heard of. I don't know if anyone ever told this guy he's not on stage. You do not have to enunciate and project every single thing that you say.
But Jeff, it works so great with drawl number 2.
But oh my God,
John Shook. Is that who it was? John Shook. Yeah.
That's another thing of an actor elevating it. He made it work by the way he carried it. This guy did not. Oh, I was so bothered by him.
So my note for him was Galen equals bad dark Anakin. And what I mean by that is Anakin, after he's already turned to the dark side, but before he goes to Darth Vader, but not good. And considering what Hayden Christensen gave us, that's saying something.
Yeah.
He just was not as good. He just wasn't as good. But for whatever reason, Jeff, and I can't explain it, I kind of like Galen.
I'll tell you why he works for me.
Yeah.
He's a Techno Mage.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And one, that's cool, but also, of course, he's a little over the top. Yeah. Of course, he's self-important and whatever. I need to self-confess that I have a little more context into some of this story. So we talked about this a little bit coming in, but I'm one of our incredible Council Chambers members on our Patreon, Trey, bought us some books, and he got me the Legions of Fire trilogy, the Centauri trilogy, and I'm in the second book right now, The Armies of Light and Dark, about halfway through, and it's basically telling a lot of the story around this. And so I got to read about Galen and how he was part of the operation that wasn't successful, that brought that planet killer and Death Cloud into play for the Drakh. But he also was working with 3 initiates into the Techno Mages. So like there's still, even though the Techno Mages have left and gone beyond the rim, there's still a crew of them there. They're still bringing people up through the system. But the theme of the Techno Mages is they're very effective, but also very mysterious and self-important in how they come across. And so with that added context from the novel, here we are again with the novel giving us the stuff we need. I can watch Galen, it can bother me, I can be really annoyed by it, and it can make total sense at the same time.
Interesting. I see the thing, I don't know that I was that bothered by Galen as much as just he just wasn't that like he was just a bad dark Anakin. But I mean, once I found out he was a Techno Mage, to be honest, all my criticisms of him disappeared. Because he's a Techno Mage.
You can call yourself King Arthur at this point, and I'll be fine with it.
If you're a Michael York could come on and tell me he's a Techno Mage, and I'm suddenly for him. It all makes more sense that way. I like Galen. Yeah, I hope we see more of Galen. Assuming that this is like the pilot of Crusade, right? Or this is the intro or whatever. I'm hoping that we see some of these characters going forward. We see Galen. We see, well, obviously we're not going to see Anderson.
No.
We see Darina. We see Drake. No, Drake's not going to be there.
Drake's not going to make it. Yeah, there weren't a lot of other characters introduced.
Because I don't think Bruce Boxleitner or Jerry Doyle are in Crusade a bunch.
They might make guest appearances. I would, maybe, but like, who else would there be? The Drakh? Well, that could be anybody. Although I think it was it Marshall Teague?
No. What, the Drakh?
Yeah.
No, Wayne Alexander.
Wayne Alexander, that's the one. Yeah, it was Wayne Alexander again, which is cool. He was also the Drazi, I think. Yeah, Marshall Teague was Talon. So,
yes.
Right? Yeah.
And Infection Dude.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the Thieves Guild boss guy. Totally, let's see him again. No, let's not.
Ever.
Let's not. Never again.
No. That was the worst. That was so bad. I even think that Thieves Guild thing, here, let's pivot over to Darina.
Okay.
The Thieves Guild thing, I'm sorry, it's just so stupid. We do gambling petty theft, the little stuff that no one. Why do you have a guild for that? That's dumb. Like, we're basically just 2-bit punks who hang out together a lot. And then near the end, Sheridan and Darina have this relationship, the thing that's kind of working out a little bit. And Garibaldi's like, she's in the Thieves Guild. She's bad news. Who cares?
You know what would have been great is if we discovered that the Thieves Guild guy's name was Fagin. You don't catch that reference?
No, I'm not following.
So in Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist,
Mm-hmm.
you had Fagin, who was like the head thief guild guy.
Yes. Oh my
who had
God.
all the kids that went out and did all the petty theft.
Yeah.
Like if his name was Fagin, and this is what he's like, I'm going to take 10% and this, that, and the other. And she's like, cool, no problem. Like, why? What? Why am I coming to you then?
Right? What do you,
Like-
what? You give me a place to live. That's the value. I can also get one of those myself.
Yeah.
I think it's.
What did you think? What did you think about the idea that Darina getting into the Thieves Guild, like she wanted herself to get caught? At least that's the way I read it. Was she was trying to get caught so she could get in front of the Thieves Guild dude and be like, "Hey, I'm here. Can I work?"
Yeah.
Like, is that all that really was? Was I'm here? Can I work?
That's what I got out of it. Like, this is another thing that I think in a novel or written together, it would have been so much better. Where look how great and how effective. Because his whole thing was, can't be that good. I mean, we caught you. She's like, yeah, because I wanted to be caught.
Yeah.
This came across just like, well, look, I wanted to be caught. If there was a little bit more context behind that, there's some more meat on the bone, that could have been a really cool scene.
Like, and like she has the thing where like she breaks the handcuffs or whatever that she's in. And I was like, I was sitting there thinking about it later. You remember the scene when Lita did that?
Yeah.
And you realize like she could have broken out of those things at any moment and she just hung out in them for a while.
Uh-huh.
Like, that was bad. Like, she really could have busted out of those things anytime she wanted to.
Yeah, busted out of those, walked out of the room, the prison chamber, everything.
But here's the thing. I never got the feeling from her, though, that she was in control of everything at the same time. Like, I think we were, like with Lita, it was, they're coming to her, they're trying to dictate terms to her, they're doing whatever. And she's just going along with them. And when she does that, you realize like, no, she is on a different level than you guys. And I never got the feeling that Darina was on a different level than all the other folks.
Not at all.
Not
until
and I
literally.
think we were supposed to. I think we were supposed to.
I think so too. I didn't get that till literally like her last scene. When she was Alexander Hamilton.
Right.
Then it's like, oh, she is good. It took that long to get to anything. I think it's kind of neat that she might be the last of her kind.
Right.
It's kind of a cool story.
That's the sort of like character thing. Like, is she really the last of her kind? Maybe she is. Maybe she isn't. Maybe we'll find somebody. Like, it just leaves the door open for so much potential storytelling.
Over the next 5 years on Crusade, there's so many opportunities for character development and stuff for her. It'll be great.
And of course, she's going to meet somebody who's there and is one of her. There's probably going to be a whole colony on the other side of the Delta Quadrant of her people there. And she's going to stop there. And that's where they're going to drop her off. And she's going to be the new ambassador of the IAS.
ISA, yeah. That was well done. That's a good way to bring Neelix into the conversation.
Dude, he's one of the best characters. I don't care what anybody says.
Especially when he wasn't on the show anymore. I don't disagree. I used to, but I've learned to see him differently.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end, like I think one of the very last scenes of the whole movie was Darina, and I think it was Galen walking out of the terminal on Babylon 5.
Mm-hmm.
And I read that as there's our plant for Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the people who are going to continue.
Is Darina and Galen?
If that I'm not sure it was Galen because he actually had like hair He had like the ring,
I think it was Galen.
It was not freshly shaven hair on his head. So I was like, isn't that, there were no other Techno mages we saw in person, so it has to be him.
Yeah.
They just kind of looked weird.
Yeah. So I have a note here, and I remember thinking this. And it says this: bad guy following pirate lady, who is Darina. Which I don't know if this was Galen or if this was somebody else, like right as she's getting captured to go into the Thieves Guild. But it says bad guy following pirate lady totally looked like Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy. And I absolutely thought that's who that was for a minute when he came on screen. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I think that was the Thieves Guild guy. That's so true, though.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes sense. That tracks to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You can totally see it. This movie's very much of its time when it comes to just the looks of people. Like, very much so. So we get the Drakh. So we saw more of the Drakh in this than we did in pretty much all of Babylon 5 proper. Mm-hmm. All their ships and stuff. It was
no, the Drakh we saw. Hold on. No, go ahead.
I'm looking for my note where I left off.
Sorry.
It's all right. But yeah, so we got to see more of them. I don't understand necessarily the motivation so much. I didn't when I watched the movie, that they're playing this whole long game on Centauri Prime. Like, one of the things he says to Londo is, we have a lot of patience. We'll wait a very long time, and this is going to take a long time. We have a lot of work to do. So 5 years into that, they're just going to go blow up Earth, like out of nowhere. It's almost, I don't know, it didn't line up necessarily with what I thought their strategy was. In the book, Armies of Light and Dark and the Legions of Fire, what we learn is they blame 100% for the Shadows leaving. They blame Sheridan and Delenn. Those two people. It's not the Alliance, anything like that. So they had a plan to take out the humans in the Minbari. They had a death cloud they were going to take and blow up Earth. And the plague was designed for Minbari. And it was supposed to get deployed on Minbar. So that's the whole, hey, it's not really suited for us, but over 5 years, it'll adapt and grow and change, and it will work for us. But basically, they were like, well, shoot, we can't blow up Earth, so we'll just take our best shot over here, which I also found to be a really weird decision. Why not just fly off to Minbar and kill the Minbari? You've got your stuff there. I don't know. Stuff didn't quite line up for me with their motivation.
It feels like there's just stuff in their world that we don't know.
Yeah.
That's making them go do it right now. Like,
instead of playing that long game that was supposed to be the cool thing, or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, because, let's just play it out. I'm Sheridan. And what I know from War Without End is there's still stuff going on Centauri Prime in 17 years at the time. Boom, boom, boom. 5 years later, now this. So 11 years to War Without End, because season 5 and then into that, plus 5. 11 years for War Without End. The Drakh actually show up. Yeah. I go defeat the Drakh, or at least drive them away. I'm probably going to start doing some math and go to Centauri Prime and start trying to figure some stuff out. Although they're not really welcome because the Centauri hate them and stuff like that. But honestly, for what a great episode War Without End is, it just doesn't. There's so much stuff that Sheridan saw that he just seems to have conveniently forgotten and not applied. And this is just another one of those things.
So, we had that same sort of criticism during potentially Sleeping in Light or something.
Not so much.
And not really a criticism, but just hey, doesn't he know that this is the thing? Doesn't he know, because he experienced it? And there were some comments on YouTube and probably in Discord and Patreon and stuff that we're like, yeah, think how crazy that time was for him. He's not necessarily pulling all of those details back.
I don't know if I buy that. I find myself in the future looking at my wife right before I'm supposed to die and her telling me that our son is okay. I think I'm going to remember.
And that's all
stuff.
but that's all you get is our son's okay.
Yeah. But then you also get, and you get all the stuff around you going on that you see. I'm going to remember. That's not a Franklin and Jakar and Sheridan going off on a one-off mission to a planet to meet a Minbari that could be forgotten. That's like, oh my God, I was in the future. I saw some stuff and then they just conveniently forgot all of it.
But then, you know what I'm also thinking when I get back is, yeah, but there was also this lady over here who said that that's only one possible future and there could be all these others. So how do I know that that's actually going to happen? I don't really know. So
she said that to Sinclair. She never said that to Sheridan.
Well, but there's other people. No, Lady Morella. I know she said that to Londo and stuff, but still, you know, I'm in my head canon. Sheridan has come across somebody who said that it's,
and he's a conspiracy theory guy. He actively, at least in one episode, he was. And so he's trying to pull this stuff.
Talk about stuff that they just dropped. It's like, what? He needs to be a conspiracy guy for this one episode? Okay.
Yeah.
And we're never coming back to that again.
One thing I absolutely loved in that final battle, and I got to be clear that I hated that final battle scene. So because of what we talked about, taking that away, there were some really cool things. I loved the entire sequence of Captain Anderson being like, here's the deal, man. You got to blast your gun. I'll cover you. I'll come around. I'll blast it. And then, kind of like trying to play with the time thing. And then he's like, nope. Ramming speed.
Mm-hmm.
And his crew did not even hesitate. Ramming speed I. Like they were just in it. They all knew what was going on. That was such a beautiful moment. And just to know how they took that whole sequence of Sheridan being like, here's where we got to shoot. And Darina being like, no. And here's why. Because it turns out I'm actually good at the things I do. There's just no reason for you to have known that coming up to this point. But I am. So shoot at this thing. I loved that they missed. How often do they miss? In a thing they miss. And then Kern comes in with just like, I got this. We just going to blow the whole thing up. And he did. And it was amazing. I love that whole thing. If you added the right soundtrack to that, or even a mediocre soundtrack to that, that would have probably been one of my favorite scenes in all of Babylon 5 so far. I loved it.
See, here's the thing, Jeff, and again, I don't mean to dip back into this whole deal. They're not going to do this. But if they were, I 100% guarantee you, if they were to rescore this film, keep everything else exactly the same, rescore this film and do it properly, this film elevates
dramatically.
100%. I mean, this film elevates David Werner style elevation. It would go through the roof, because I'm telling you, Jeff, this was a fantastic movie from start to finish.
We have an incredible community across all of our various venues and places. There's someone, I'm talking to you, you know you're about to get talked to as soon as Brent said that. Do that. Somebody do, or if you send me, if someone out there has the video without music on it, I'll rescore it. I'll do it. I think it's not the whole movie. That's a big thing, but that scene. Somebody send me that scene or rescore that scene, and I'll make sure the world knows the work that you did, because it needs to happen.
Yep. I agree.
I think it's time, Brent, to ask the big question. We enjoyed this movie. We hated one big part of it, but enjoyed a lot of it overall. But through the sounds and the cacophony of what we had to listen to for all of this, did you happen to catch any dialogue or story whatsoever that had any of those sci-fi messages in them? The things that show us we might be better humans, hold up a mirror to society, any of those things that we look at. What, Brent, did you find? And after you describe that to us, what rating between 0 and 5 white stars do you give this, with 0 being no message at all and not Babylon 5e delivered in any way, and 5 being amazingly delivered and messaged?
You know, Jeff, you and I actually talked about this a little bit before we hit record tonight, because I just needed to make sure that I was kind of right. And I'm always trepidatious about when I rate an episode of Babylon 5 the way I'm about to rate this one, because it always results in email after email, comment after comment of folks telling me I'm wrong. And you know what? I'm happy to be wrong with stuff like this, because this is just my first watch. Most of you folks out there, you've seen this multiple times before, and you've had lots of time to think about it and dwell on it. And I bet you guys honestly are far more qualified to come in and be able to state a message. You've also listened to JMS and other people speak about it. You're far more qualified to come in and state the actual message of what's going on than either Jeff or I are here. We are just giving you what we pick up on a first watch.
Mm-hmm.
There were 2 lines that I did not have down in the message section. They were in my regular notes section, but we didn't get to them. But I feel like they could be something.
Okay.
And I want to jump into that. One, I want to say that it was it Garibaldi? It was somebody who turned around and looked at Sheridan and talking like all the mess that they're going through. And like, can you imagine if this was all just for a test? And my thought was, yeah, I saw Comes the Inquisitor.
Oh yeah.
Everything you're going for is just for a test to see if you were right.
It's a great call.
Is there a message in that? No, not really. Because I'm not even sure that that's what that meant. I just in my head went, yeah, I saw Comes the Inquisitor. There's also this great line that I want to say Galen said it. I didn't write it down, but he said this: if a dream comes true, then what of our nightmares? Great line to think about. Great line to mull over. But you know what it's not, Jeff? It's not a message.
It's not. No.
It's not a message. And I found no messages in this. And you know what? That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everything has to have some big moral message to it. Not everything has to tell us how we're going to be better human beings to one another or hold up mirrors to society. Like they just don't. Sometimes you could just have an episode of television or a movie of television. You know?
Or a 2-parter of television.
Or
Absolutely.
a 2-parter of television. Or where one's really great and the other's not. Or whatever. That's what this was. That's what this was to me. Jeff, if you want to stump for anything, go for it, because I am rating this right now at 0 white stars. None. Folks, chill out. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Jeff, do you want to stump for anything? I'll give you an opportunity.
No. So on my notes, and you can see my notes and Brent's notes on our Patreon, but we alternate each week who does the recap and the white stars, and then who does the part we're about to go into. So on a week like this where I'm not doing the message, if I observe anything, I'll just plop a couple notes in there, just, whatever. Yeah, I have nothing in this one. The most I had was, wow, Captain Anderson's a great dad. There you go. I got nothing.
So that being said, I just want to remind everybody, listen, as you guys are firing up your keyboards for the comments to tell me how wrong I am and to send us emails and tell me how great this really was, I just want to remind you guys that our white star rating, one, is purely subjective. And it does in no way, shape, or form does it talk about or dictate our enjoyment of the episode or how good we think the episode was. It purely talks about what kind of messages were hidden in it and how was it being delivered in its own unique way. That's all it is. Jeff, you get the much better task of taking this and placing it in our 100% completely accurate ranking of the movies of Babylon 5, and you get to rate it. No, I'm sorry, you get to rank it. I'm really curious to see where you put this episode, because there is an argument that this episode could be really, really high in the ranking. There is an equally strong argument for this episode being really, really low in the ranking. Jeff, our current ranking as it sits right now, Jeff, I don't have it in front of me. Do you have it?
You should. It's in the notes, but I do.
Is it in the notes? I was just scrolling through it and I don't see it. Hold on. Welcome to the behind the scenes, folks.
Right. It's under the white text that says comments back and forth. So it should stand out. Top of the second page, I think. Or middle of the second page.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. It's not in white. It's in orange on my.
Well, there's
on my
white
screen.
and then your line. We color
I see.
code.
Oh, there it is. Okay, great. Nope. Yep, absolutely right there. Okay, cool. In the note. Look at you, Jeff.
It's almost like we planned it or something. You know?
This is, it's because we get going and I get on autopilot and I stop following along the note. Like, because I'm just on autopilot. All right, let's come back. So, Jeff, our current top 5 is our number 4. Well, actually, this is the number 5 movie.
It is.
So this will be in the top 5 of the films. But currently, our number 4 movie is The Gathering. Our number 3 was River of Souls from last week. Number 2 is In the Beginning, and number 1 is Third Space. I will remind folks that this 100% completely accurate, immutable ranking is only mutable when we get to the end of the series recaps. Jeff, where do you place this one on the ranking?
So I had a question on that piece, on the mutability of the list.
Yes.
Are we going to change the movie ranking in this? Because we're not doing a movies wrap up. Yeah. And I don't necessarily want to change lists for the series wrap up.
Yeah.
So I make the motion. If I wanted to if I wanted to mutable the list right now, I would like to propose
Mutate.
There you go. Let's mutate. I'd like to propose that we allow a mutation of the list in this moment. And because I think in a moment, a decision was made that upon reflection might need to be changed. Brent, would like to propose swapping In the Beginning and Third Space, making In the Beginning the number 1.
I second that proposition.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
All agreed? Say aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. None seen. The motion passes.
There we go.
All right. While I rank this, will you change that on the list so we're aware? So, okay. I am going to, I know where I'm going to put this one, but I need to talk through it a little bit.
Okay.
Because it could be, okay, I'm going to split the difference between it being as high as it could be and as low as it could be. And it's the soundtrack. It's the score to this thing. I wanted to make this the new number 2. I cannot with that. But I also cannot make this the number 5 because it is infinitely better than The Gathering. It is better than River of Souls. So I am going to put an asterisk on this one and make it our...
Stop. So I'm going to ask the question because I see where you're going to put this. Are you really going to sit there and tell me, score notwithstanding, this or that Third Space altogether, take the whole thing into account, Third Space was better than this film?
Yeah.
Okay.
Score to me drags it below Third Space.
Okay. Fair enough.
So it will be our new number 3.
It just fell to me to ask the question.
It should be our number 2 and possibly our number 1.
I completely disagree.
Really?
Yes.
What do you think?
It should definitely be our new number 1.
Really?
Yes. This was a great movie, Jeff.
It was.
In the Beginning was really good. This was a great movie. And if it was supported by a score that would have elevated it or just given us something Jeff, there's no doubt in my mind that I would sit there and go, I would watch this over In the Beginning every single time.
In the Beginning pulls on our nostalgia strings quite a bit, right? It goes back, it revisits some things. It's an introduction to the series. Mm-hmm. Get ready to type again, by the way. The thing that I think does elevate A Call to Arms.
Yeah.
I'm not making this our number one. It would be a crime against humanity if I did that with the score that it has. It's going to be the number 2 above Third Space. And here's why. Because, yes, it's an amazing movie. It's awesome. It has a cardinal sin that hurts it horribly. And I do want an asterisk next to that ranking to say, like, all that means all that. We'll probably forget that in the future. But this is the first movie we've watched that moves us forward.
Yeah, because Third Space was effectively an episode that happened somewhere in the middle of season 4. Mm-hmm. Didn't really affect anything going forward.
Nothing.
It was just a self-contained story.
Mm-hmm.
River of Souls was
what it was.
Appendix A.
Yeah.
To the end of the story. Like,
it's like, oh, and also this thing happened.
Yeah. Oh, here's the script from the cutting room floor that we never had time to do that. Yeah, let's do that. Sorry,
This takes stuff.
I enjoyed Third Space. I want to say that. I enjoyed Third Space. I really did.
Absolutely. Yeah. It never deserved its number 1, but it deserved to be in the top 2. Absolutely. But yeah, Call to Arms takes stuff that we learned in the past that happened and progressed it forward and is going to move forward into a
I will tell you, despite the score, you know where Call to Arms really, really succeeds? In making me want to watch Crusade.
Agreed.
To sit back and go, oh, so Crusade is going to be about trying to find this cure to this earth plague. And presumably, we're going to be on a ship bouncing around from place to place, not on a station. I'm in for that show.
Yeah, I am interested.
In for that show.
I'm going to check it out. Like, it's going to be amazing. And the cool thing about that, Brent, is we get to do that next week. We have gotten through these movies. There's a few more, but we're going to take a hiatus because this moves us directly into Crusade. So next week, we're watching Warzone for the first time. We don't know anything about Crusade. Like, we know there's going to be a plague, and it's going to be 5 seasons long, apparently. And so we know the title of the first episode is Warzone. Brent, what do you think it's going to be about?
This one feels easy to me. The Drakh plague has just hit Earth. I think we pick up days, weeks, a really short time span from the end of this film. All right. Panic is spreading across the Earth. People are losing their minds at what's about to happen. And I think Earth has pretty much turned into a war zone because everybody's freaking out.
Oh, okay.
I think there's this new crew that, and this will, I don't know that we can rightly call A Call to Arms the pilot of Crusade.
It's like,
because I don't think we know who our characters are. I don't think we know who our cast is for Crusade, you know? So this will be a new crew has to come in and solve the problem before Earth annihilates itself over the next several years. And I think that's what's going on. Panic is spreading. Earth, they're self-destructing, and this is the gather the crew, put them on the ship, presumably the Excalibur, and send them out. And I truly don't know if any of, like, is Lockley going to be around? Is Sheridan going to be around? Is Garibaldi going to be around? I don't think Ivanova is going to be around. Like, are we going to see any of our known people, or is this an entirely new group of folks? I don't know. I think Galen and Darina potentially could really, like, we talked that out in the show. They potentially could come back, but I think it's got to be the pilot. It's got to do that thing. How about you, Jeff?
I like that a lot, actually. It makes a whole lot of sense. I agree. This is going to be a very short amount of time afterwards. I think that Bruce Boxleitner, I think Sheridan is going to be in this one, because I think he's basically going to send, like, here's your captain. He's going to introduce us to the captain and he's going to be there for sending the Excalibur out on its voyage out into the galaxy to find the thing. I really saw Warzone as more of their first adventure. So we're going to meet the characters. They're going to come onto the ship and meet them as they're on the ship. And then they're going to run into some sort of a conflict on a planet of some kind that pulls them into a war zone. So we get that conflict that, oh, look, they're effective and the ship can do this stuff and whatever kind of a thing. So very similar to yours, except my war zone's on another planet. Your war zone is on Earth.
I would be very mad, Jeff, if this show turned into a Voyager type series.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, what was Voyager all about?
Getting home.
But what did they do?
They around
stopped at every little planet. They talked to people. They little side quest. They helped them solve their problem here and helped them solve that. You know what? You have an A1 emergency happening back home. You don't have time to solve other people's problems right now. And you know what? This isn't Star Trek. You need to get on with your mission and not be about everybody else's stuff because you just don't have time.
It's open world video game, though. You go to the place to do the thing, but to do the thing, you got to take care of this thing. So I think there are going to be those Planet of the Week side quest episodes because they need to get there to get the thing.
You just described Discovery.
Oh, my God. Yeah. You know what I'm discovering? Speaking of Discovery, everything is just open world video game anymore. That's just all. That's all.
That's how we make TV these days.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we will find out what Crusade and Warzone are all about right here next week. Thank you so much for joining us through our journey through the first set of movies on this. We appreciate it so much. If you would, and you haven't before, please leave us a rating and a review wherever you're watching us or listening to us. And the most important thing, the thing that would truly mean the world to us, is please share this show with someone who loves Babylon 5 or needs to capture it. Yes, what's up, Brent?
I need you to go faster. Go faster.
This is as
faster.
faster as I can go.
Need you to go faster.
This is as faster as I go.
Dude, get the hell out of here.
Initiating getting the hell out of here maneuver.
That's a good save. As we got down there, I'm like, oh no, we never came up with the thing. Here's the thing. Hi, Club 65. How's it going? For Stargate, we do zero prep. Well, actually, that's not true. We load the episode into our little thing here.
I do a quick perusal of episode facts.
Yeah.
And I mean quick perusal.
So we're ready to go in 2 minutes. We go, and then there's no writing, no prep or whatever, and we just
by design.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the whole point of the whole. If you haven't checked it out, please do. It's a really fun and cool show, but it has a different feel because we don't put all the prep into it, and I think it's still super great. But that said, we just recorded an episode of Stargate, and so I think we're kind of in that mindset, and so I didn't think about having to.
Didn't even think about it. But you know what's great, Jeff, is actually part of your thing is coming up with the ending while we're in the, like it's one of the games we play is can you figure out something at the end to do? And so often when we get to that part of the show, I'm literally seeing it for the first time as we're saying it. And I'm like, I just hope Jeff did something okay. Yeah. I think a few times maybe I change it in the middle because I'm like, no, I got something better.
Yeah.
But you know, we have had some practice doing it on the fly, like like that. Is
they're definitely better than they were for a time.
Yeah,
and there are some absolute stinkers in there. There have been a lot of times where literally like we're wrapping it up, and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot to do the thing, and I don't remember all this stuff. But
Jeff,
Brent,
you know one of the things I love about Club 65.
There's a lot of things to love, but
there's a lot of things I love about. But I love getting to talk about things in my notes that didn't come through the discussion. Now, you and I both have something else that we got to run, so we can't make this super long tonight.
Yeah.
But a few things I just kind of want to run through these real quick. The whole opening piece with ISN, was basically previously on Babylon 5.
Previously on Babylon 5.
There it is. So there was a question about Garibaldi to me right at the very beginning, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but they were talking about something, including all of those who died. And it flashes over to Garibaldi. And I was like, does Garibaldi die in this one? And I, for a hot second, I thought Garibaldi was gonna get it in this episode because of the way they said that and structured that. And I was like, dude, if Garibaldi dies in this film, that is literally the best kept spoiler of the entire run of Babylon 5 for the first time.
Yeah.
Turns out he didn't die. So whatever.
Was that something the ISN anchor said?
Maybe.
Because
it was, if I remember right, it was somebody said something and then like the camera flashed to Garibaldi. And the way that works is in television or in film, whenever you're talking about somebody who's not there, the next person that comes up on screen is usually the person you were just talking about. Like that's the clue, you know? For example, here's a Game of Thrones major spoiler for those of you out there. If you have not seen Game of Thrones, you plan on watching Game of Thrones, this is your warning to push forward about 35 seconds. Jeff, you've seen Game of Thrones, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, you guys ready? This is your final warning of if you don't want the spoiler, just push ahead because here it comes. You ready? 3, 2, 1. You know that Jon Snow is the child of he's the Targaryen kids, right? Literally in that show when Maester Aemon or whatever, he's the Dark Knight, the Dark Watch guy.
Yeah, the Night Watch.
Aemon up there, the blind guy, the blind guy up there. He's literally talking about how the Targaryen dude and the girl, like they had a secret baby. They had a baby and that baby gets whisked away. Or, you know, something happened and he is the actual heir to the throne. It's not Viserys and Daenerys. It's him. Literally, like immediately the next shot is Jon Snow just sitting there going. Like it flashes right to him.
And that was season 1, wasn't it? That was when he first got assigned to the wall, I think.
Possibly. Yeah. Yeah. It was, that's just one of many examples of how that works. So yeah, I totally thought Garibaldi was like going to get it. I have a note here. Garibaldi was hanging out with Ivanova too much.
Why do you say that?
He had some real Ivanova, like just kind of badassery, don't F with me.
Yeah.
Kind of stuff, like in a way that those words come out of Ivanova's mouth, not Garibaldi's.
Well, and they came
but it
out
was
of
cool to see Garibaldi saying it.
I feel like he came across like a bully when he said them. Because a lot of those he pointed at Drake, and with him saying it, with his demeanor, it's like, dude, you're a jerk.
Yeah.
Also, that's on brand with his management style that we've seen.
Sure.
That's fine. But
sure. You know what? This actually might have been, I maybe could have pulled this in as a message, but I don't think they really went too far. Garibaldi says this, he's talking about Mars born or Earth naturals. What's the difference? We're all humans, you know? And I was just sitting there going, Mars born or Earth natural? Yeah. What an awful name.
Right.
Earth natural? Like, really?
Like, we've come up with some pretty bad names to identify groups of people in the past, and that's got to rank right up there.
Yeah. I also had this. It'll be the last one that I have here. Oh, no, 2 more. The girl who played Darina totally reminds me of the good Natoth.
Really?
Yeah. What was her name? Julie something or other?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Whatever. Yeah, she had that vibe to her of like, she could rip out your throat, but I also want to have her around. Like,
I got the impression from her that like she was terrible and didn't understand the character until like the last 1 or 2 scenes when she's like, oh now really? I get it. Now I can play myself.
Oh, yeah. I don't.
Yeah, I wasn't too keen on her for most of it.
Yeah, I really like the crew of the Charon moving over to crew the Excalibur.
Yeah.
And then the Victory.
You said that this is built like Earth Force stuff, right? There's no learning curve. Cool. Take your stations.
Let's go. Right. Let's go. What was the last one? I just missed it. I love the humor. Hanging out in Club 65. This is thrilling.
Right, it's super fun. We're so excited.
Oh, you know what I would love to see?
What's that?
I would love to see a good Sheridan, Garibaldi, and Lockley adventure.
Yeah.
Think about where Garibaldi and Lockley have come since the beginning of season 5. The animosity, the button heads, but also the shared, the shared thing with the attic thing. And then you just got Sheridan there. He has history with both of them. That could be a really great, adventure.
Yeah.
Of the 3 of these folks going off and doing.
Do Sheridan and Lockley really have any history though? I'm not really. They don't seem to really have any connection that I can think of.
Well, I think they dated once. It just didn't really work out.
Yeah, maybe
went out for a
time.
date once, maybe. So anyway.
Apparently, he had 3 wives, and he was a conspiracy theorist. Who cares?
I can't do it. Hey, Club 65, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We are going to get out of here. Jeff and I got some other stuff we got to go do. So drop a 65 down in the comments. Let us know. And don't forget, the first rule of Club 65 is don't talk about Club 65. Because if you know, then you know. And if you don't, then you don't.
If you say something, we'll fire our main gun.
But we'll be vulnerable for 60 seconds.
It's
all right.
Story of my life.
Bye, guys.
A lot longer than 60 seconds.